Welcome back to Bad Attitude C10. Today we're going to be running by Goebel's High Performance Transmissions to pick up a flash drive that contains the video footage of my 4L80 being tested on the Intercont Dyno. I figured I'd take y'all along for my 12-minute journey over to Goebel's shop and fill you in a little bit about our relationship. I met Goebel years ago, and I knew he is around in a transmission builder, but I did not realize he was also an instructor for the Texas State Technical College for hydraulics. So whenever I ended up taking a night course there for industrial hydraulics, it just so happened he was my instructor, and we've known each other ever since. So Goebel is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, and he actually designed one of the first trans brakes for a 700R4 years ago, and actually sold the design to a larger company. I've dealt with stuff from aerial equipment and my power glides for my old rides and stuff like that with him, and he's done converters for me, and he is a very knowledgeable guy, and I'm just happy to call him a friend. So in this video, we're actually going to go and pick up this flash drive so I can share with y'all the transmission being tested and the converter and everything like that. And in addition, we will be putting out a video that's going to have some pictures of when my transmission was built. Now, I'm not going to be able to put this out in a video format that's going to show step by step because, hey, we all have trade secrets, and there's some stuff that just doesn't need to be shared. Now, if you're not wanting to go along for the ride and hear me babble and discuss other things, you can jump up to about the 3-minute, 25-second mark and get into the regular video. But I also figured this would be a prime time to go ahead and check out this new bracket and mount that I grabbed from my generic GoPro. And the roads are kind of bumpy going the back way to Goebel's, but it's a lot shorter. So I wanted to check out and see how stable this camera would stay, and you can see it's bouncing around and everything like that, but the picture is pretty steady and true, and that is on time-lapse. I'm thinking I'm on 4 times on the time-lapse, and it's still a pretty good deal. So it's clipped to the visor, and it's holding steady. I do have the ISO setting on, but this is a knockoff GoPro. It's called an ASCA action camera. They're about less than a third of the cost of a GoPro. So anyway, yeah, that's the lake over to the right. But so more about Goebel. The dude, like I said, he is now a retired instructor. He does still have his shop, and his son and him are in that venture together, and Jeremy's very knowledgeable too. So if you ever are in need, either one of them can pretty much set you straight and put you where you need to be. So we're about to arrive on Goebel Lane and run up here, and then I'm going to get the information and then run back to the house and throw y'all a video together. So hang tight, and here we go. So I've known Goebel for 20 plus years now, and he does have the transmission shop, and it also includes pretty much a full-blown machine shop. They build converters there, and I don't mean they sell other people's converters, which they will buy you one, but he does build converters as needed, custom for your application. The star for today is this Intercont Dyno. And the reason we're using this is that way the transmission can be tested and all the functions tested before it ever even gets put in the Bad Attitude C10. Because, hey, if it works here, it should theoretically work, period. Now, the top row of gauges that you see that the arrow's pointing at right now are strictly for use with the engine, so we're not going to pay any mind to those at this point. The black gauge on the lower left is actually going to be engine RPM. Now, we will utilize this gauge. The large white gauge in the middle is our actual transmission pressure. Now, during our test, it was set at 150 psi. Now, the transmission pressure is variable, so on our application, it will run somewhere between 100 to 200 psi when it's in the Bad Attitude C10. The smaller black gauge is actually our cooler line pressure. This gave John the ability to watch the pressure of the fluid coming out of the converter as it would go to the cooler, and in the unlocked position it's 60 to 65 psi, and with the converter locked up it was 80 to 90 psi. Now on the far right there was a flow meter that the lines for the cooler ran through. In the unlocked position it was flowing about 1.5 gallons per minute, and with the converter locked up it was at about 3 gallons per minute. So here we go with our test. Now guys, I do want to freeze this real quick and have you watch the transmission pressure gauge and see how the needle holds steady. A bouncing needle could be a sign of aeration, which can damage your unit. Now, one of the main causes of aeration can be improper fluid levels.